my name's Claire and this is Stitch Sew. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Today's video is another Friday Sews video and this is episode 13. If it's your first time joining me today, you're really very welcome, and if you're a returning watcher or subscriber, thank you so much for coming back time after time. I really do appreciate it. If you do like today's video, please do give me a like and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'm getting so close to that 1,000 subscribers mile mark and I really would like to reach it as soon as possible. Now, I know it doesn't mean anything in particular, but it's just a lovely little milestone. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I'd really appreciate it. Now, as I said, today's video is a Friday Sews video. Friday Sews, the idea is that you talk about what you've been up to sewing wise, what you've got planned for your week, and a little bit of life thrown in. Now, Friday Sews was the brainchild of Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, and it was just a great idea bringing the sewing community together and lots of us posting under that hashtag Friday Sews. So do check out the lovely Jen and all the other YouTubers who are posting under that hashtag Friday Sews. As I said, do check out Jen's channel. Jen is over in America. I believe she lives in Florida. She's got a fantastic YouTube channel. She's got a wealth of knowledge and experience, and she's great at thrifting garments and things. So if that interests you, please do go and check out her channel. I'm sure she'd love to have you over there as well. Whilst I'm just talking about other YouTubers, I thought I might mention a few more that I'm really enjoying at the moment. There's so many lovely YouTubers out there that I enjoy, so this is by no means an exhausted list, just a couple of people that I'm really enjoying watching at the moment. The first one is Michelle from Michelle Sews Again. I love Michelle. Again, she is over in Florida. She is friends with Jen actually. Michelle has a great personality, really bubbly. She loves colour in her fabrics, so she's got a really great colourful wardrobe and she's just a pleasure to watch. So if you haven't already seen Michelle's channel, please do go and check her out. Now, coming back this way, I'd also like to mention Joey. Jo has got a fantastic channel as well, and she's just so lovely to watch, so sweet and just a pleasure to watch really. She shares all her sewing highs and lows, and she just brightens your day. So again, please do check her out. And the other person that I wanted to just give a shout out to was Izzy from Dizzy Quilts and Sews. Now Izzy used to just do quilting, and she's got some absolutely beautiful quilts, and she sort of shows those ones that she's made in the past. She's got them sort of hang up behind her, and she talks about quilting projects that she's currently working on, but she also does lots of dressmaking projects as well and makes, and it's just a lovely combination, I think, of some quilting and some sewing. I haven't actually done quilting myself, but it's something that's definitely in sort of at the back of my mind that at some point I'd like to sort of maybe get into. So just sort of storing some of that information she talks about, and yeah, so she's really great. Do check her channel out. So in terms of what I've been up to since I last saw you, I've done a fair amount of sewing, which I'm really pleased with. It's been the Easter holidays this week and it's Easter next week, but this week I've also had the week off work. And so I've managed to actually squeeze in a bit of sewing during the day. I don't often get to sew during the day because I'm either at work or the kids are around, and sometimes I squeeze in the odd sort of 10 minutes, or I might get some cutting out done, but I don't often do a huge amount of sewing during the day. So it's been a real delight to be able to squeeze in a little bit more extra sewing while the boys have sort of been playing and things together. And just sort of listening out for when things are starting to get a little bit more crazy and I just need to go and intervene a little bit. So that's been really lovely, and it's meant that I've actually spent an evening with my husband. That's a bit of a rarity. And I've also had a couple of lovely early nights, which has been really lovely, just to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit. I do tend to burn the candle at both ends, as my mum would say, and sometimes it's just nice to just take a step back and just recharge a little bit. So that's been really lovely. So as I say, I have been doing some sewing, and I've been making some things for other people for Selfless Sew April 22, and I'll talk to you about those just in a couple of minutes. But before I get sort of started showing you what I've been making, I just wanted to talk about Selfless Sew April 22 in a little bit more detail, and just to let you know some exciting news that I've had this week in relation to that. Now, Selfless Sew April 22, the idea is that you sew up a garment, or it doesn't have to be a garment actually, it could be any item for somebody else, just not for yourself, and then post your makes on the 30th of April using that hashtag Selfless Sew April 22. Now, I've been talking to Crystal, who is my social thread, and Adele, Sew for Serenity, for a good few months now, and I did a collaboration project with Adele in March, and I'm planning to do one with Crystal in probably about June sort of time. And throughout the time they've been running this challenge, we've been chatting, and we've got a little sort of WhatsApp group and things, which is really nice to have sort of a sewing related WhatsApp group. And last week they asked me if I wanted to come on board in terms of being part of the challenge team for Selfless Sew April 22, which of course I said yes to. So it just means that obviously I'll just be a little bit more involved in promoting the challenge, and when it comes to the 30th, just sort of collating all the names, etc., and helping decide the prizes, etc. So it's really exciting. So thank you so much to Crystal and Adele for inviting me on board. It's so nice. The only downside to it, of course, is that it means that I can't win one of the lovely prizes myself. Not that I would necessarily have won, but of course I would have been in for a chance, and I'm not now. So that's the only downside. But of course I don't mind. It's lovely to be sort of part of the team, and be able to see everybody else's makes come in, and I have been sort of sharing some of those, and I'll continue to do that whilst we're going through the month of April. In terms of that, if you have got any makes that you want to show in terms of works of progress or little sneaky peeks, please do use the hashtag Selfless Sew April 22 WIP, which stands for work in progress. So that will just leave the main hashtag for 30th of April, and if you could just use that one on the 30th of April and use the Selfless Sew April 22 WIP one before that would be great. So there are several different ways that you can win a prize for this particular challenge, and some of them are going to be picked at random, but there's also 5 different categories that you can enter your makes into. So on the 30th of April, just put down obviously who your item is for, the pattern and fabric, those sort of details that you would normally put down, what category you want to enter, and whereabouts in the world you are, because that will just help us to sort out prizes. Obviously some prizes are only UK only. There's not huge amounts of ones that are like that. Most of them can be international prizes as well, and you can enter as many times into the challenge as you want to. As I say, there are 5 different categories. The first category is adult wear, the second category is children's wear from 0 to 2, children's wear 2+, pet wear and accessories. And so there will be several winners for each of those categories, and then the rest of the prizes will be drawn at random using a random number generator. There are 50+ prizes, so definitely in a chance of winning a lovely prize, and some of them are just amazing. So thank you so much to the sponsors that have agreed to sponsor the challenge. It's just absolutely fantastic. So I think those are all the sort of the main details. If you've got any questions about the challenge, please do get in contact with myself or Adele, Sew for Serenity, or Crystal, my social thread, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. You can either pop your questions in the comments or just drop me a DM on Instagram. I'm Stitch Hemsew on Instagram as well. So I think it's about time we got into the sewing, isn't it? So I have made 4 items this week, which I'm really quite pleased about. So the first item that I made was a t-shirt for my husband. This fabric came from Fabrics by Penny community group on Facebook, and it came as sort of a little bundle pack, which I really liked. So it had the main fabric, a metre of that, half a metre of red jersey, and half a metre of the ribbing fabric. So a lovely little set, and I have used the Ellie & Mac straight raglan fit t-shirt, and I'll pop a picture in of what that make is like in terms of the pattern. And I've just obviously done the short sleeve. I've popped in a little label, that's a Kylie in the Machine label I think, and I've just done some top stitching around in blue. I've just twin needled it. Hopefully you can see there the twin needling, and I picked blue just so that it would sort of tie in with the ribbing there. So I'm really pleased with that. Oh, and I've obviously just twin needled the bottom as well, bottom hem. I'm quite pleased with how this one has turned out actually. You'll see my overlocking thread there. I've gone for a rainbow overlocking thread. I've done that on most of the makes that I've done actually, because they were all kind of quite colourful makes, so that's worked out quite nicely. And then I didn't have to keep changing over my threads. What I tend to do is I have the 2 looper threads when I'm using the rainbow thread, the 2 loopers that have got the rainbow thread, and then I'll swap out the 2 needle threads to kind of match the fabric that I'm using. So this time I popped in a grey, I think, which actually grey's really great in terms of it kind of will go with most things in terms of, you know, not the stitching not showing. So but obviously this is a grey make, so it was ideal for this one. So yeah, happy with that one. He is quite happy with the t-shirt. The general fit of it was really good. Next time I'm going to very slightly lower the neckline. It just feels a little bit higher than he would like, and also the sleeve length came up a little bit short on him, so I'll just add an extra inch to that next time I make this particular pattern. And I must remember to write down those details so that I don't forget. At the time you always think, oh, I'll never forget, and then you do. So yeah, I must write that in my notebook. Note to self. The next thing I made was this little hoodie for my younger son. Those of you who have watched my channel before know I'm a massive fan of the Waves and Wild hot chocolate, and this is the Waves and Wild hot chocolate pattern. There's also a pattern for adults which is called the hot coffee, and there's a men's version and a ladies version. You can make it in a dress. There's a cowl neck option, there's a crew neck option, so a really lovely versatile pattern, and this just comes together so nicely. I've popped some red jersey in the hood lining, and this fabric, it's not a jersey, it is a jersey, it's not like a sweatshirting fabric, it's just like a t-shirt weight fabric. I just thought it'd be really nice for the summer as a little cover up, but not too sort of warm. But he loves a hoodie. He loves to put his little hood up. It's really cute, and sometimes he'll just sit with his little hands in the pocket, which is just so cute. So yeah, I've just done the navy ribbing on the hemband and the cuffs, and I've popped in a little label, a little handmade label. This is a little Rosy Cheeks label, and I just think that's a really nice little finishing touch. And this gorgeous otter fabric was a remnant bit that I got in a bundle from First for Fabrics, and I love picking up their sort of little remnant bundles, particularly when I'm making stuff for the kids, because it just works out really, really well, and their quality of their jersey is always really good. Now the next item that I've sewn up is a pyjama shorts pattern for both of my boys, and here they are, just a little matching set for them. At some point I'll sew them up a little matching t-shirt in red or green or something, but for now they've got plenty of t-shirts that they can pop on in the meantime if they want to wear them. This fabric's quite thin, but I think that's fine for summertime, a little summer pair of shorts to wear to bed. And what I've done is I've used the overlocker thread to finish obviously my seams, and I've popped in just on each pair of shorts just a little tag made out of the actual fabric, just so that they know which is the front and back, because these types of pyjamas are really hard to tell the front and the back. This is the Patterns for Pirates Walk the Plank PJs, and you can make this as a shorts version, a knee length version, I think, like a capri length, and a full length trouser. These are so simple. There's basically one pattern piece that you cut out twice, obviously mirrored, and you need some elastic. You sew them up, they come together in a matter of minutes, really. I mean, I must have sewn these up in about half an hour, I guess. They were a joy to sew, to be honest with you, because I hadn't sewn anything, I hadn't sewn pyjama bottoms in woven probably since right at the beginning of my sewing journey, and I'd quite forgotten how simple the pattern was, and equally how lovely it is to sew in a woven cotton fabric that you press and it does what it should and stays pressed, and you know, it's just so stable to sew with. So they were just a joy to sew up, and quite frankly it's made me want to sew with woven fabric and a really simple pattern lots more, so maybe I'll make them another pair at some point as well for the summer. Now the final make was a very impromptu project. I hadn't spoken about this before. The other day I was having a little clear through of a storage tub that I put some of my remnants in and things where I've ready to wear stuff that I think that I might want to refashion. I'm not massive into refashioning, but occasionally there'll be something that I think, oh, I don't want to throw that away, I'll see if I can reuse it at some point. And I stumbled across a ready to wear t-shirt that had been sent to my husband. I think it was like a freebie thing when he bought something from Nintendo, and it was a really much too small size for him. So but I knew my boys would really like it, and there was a bit of a battle over who was going to have it, but obviously I could only make one. It was only big enough to make one out of, so I've made it smaller. So I basically cut up the seams and I've used a pattern and, you know, sort of just used it as fabric essentially, and this is what I've come up with. So I've had to slightly crop off the very top of the picture just because obviously the neckline would have come up here, but to kind of get the top of the sleeves in I needed to, it's just very slightly taken off the top. I've decided to go with a black ribbing for the neckband just because this fabric is so thin. I didn't think it would do very well to make the neckband out of the same fabric, so I just sort of went with a contrasting neckband, and I think that's worked out quite nicely. I've made this for my older son, but actually I was a bit silly and I'd used some pattern pieces that I'd used for him before, and it's come up a bit small. I should have remeasured and recut out a new pattern for him. This is the DIBY t-shirt. I'm going to put the full name of it down here because I can't quite remember the details of it. It's a free pattern. I've used it a number of times for my boys before. It comes up really nicely, and yeah, so I was quite pleased with that refashion, and definitely fits in with Selfless Sew April 22. So yeah, super pleased, and definitely something I'll keep my eye on doing in the future. So that's all the sewing that I've done for this week. I've got a few things planned and I'll obviously tell you about those in a moment. I haven't done any major shopping this week, so nothing to show you. The only thing that I bought is some elastic. I'm not going to show you that, it's very tediously boring. And this invisible zipper foot for my my sewing machine. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up for you, but hopefully you can see that, and if it hasn't shown up very well I'll pop a picture in. So it's got, I watched a video from So Essential and also from the Stitch Sisters talking about invisible zippers and different feet that can help it go in better, and this one hopefully has got some nice deep grooves in there which will help me put the zip in, and also this sort of knobbly bit at the end. I haven't actually got a project in mind at the moment that needs an invisible zipper, but I just thought I would pick that up whilst it just suddenly sprang to my mind, right, I'm going to do that. So that little purchase, that was just an Amazon purchase. So in terms of sewing plans for this week, there's a couple of things that I'd like to try and get sewn up this week, and one of them is with this fabric. Now I can't remember whether I spoke about this particular fabric last week or whether it was just in my plans video for Selfless Sew April 22. This is, I've got 3 meters of this jersey fabric, this stripy jersey fabric, and my plan is to sew up some pyjamas for my husband. I've ordered some grey ribbing fabric to go with it, and I'm looking to use the free pattern by L.E.M. Mac. It's a relatively new pattern and it's their adult classic pyjama pattern. Now there are a number of different options. You can use it with woven or knit, and there's sort of night shirts or your more sort of classic pyjamas, you know, with a button up pyjama top, but I'm obviously going with the knit version, and I'm also probably going to, on the trousers, put a cuff on the bottom of the trousers as well, so I'll just need to taper those in very slightly to and draft a cuff pattern for the trouser leg. So hopefully that one will go quite nicely. I've already cut out the paper pattern. I do need to just adjust that very slightly for tapering in the leg, although what I might do is cut out the pieces and then taper it, sew it up, and then sort of try it on him and decide how much tapering he wants, and then make the cuff piece. So that's the plan for this particular fabric, and he seems to have gotten over his thought that it looks a little bit like a convict's outfit that he had in his head before. So he seems quite pleased with the idea of these pyjamas. So hopefully those ones will sew up quite nicely, and I'll get those done this week as well. And then last week I spoke about a piece of fabric that I bought, and a few of you have laughed because I said that I happened to be in a fabric shop in my lunch break. I don't know about you, but if there is a fabric shop anywhere near, I tend to sort of gravitate in before I really even know it. I think I'd gone in to get some cord fabric to go through like a drawstring type scenario, and of course you can't go into a haberdashery, can you, fabric shop without looking at fabric. Well, I can't anyway. So I'd picked up this fabric. I've washed this now, so apologies that it's a little bit on the crease side because I haven't yet re-ironed it. It's a cotton lawn type fabric, I think, between cotton poplin and cotton lawn. It's a little bit sheer, so I may look to make a little strappy top to go underneath it. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see kind of what happens once I've made it up. I'm probably going to go down the lines of the Paddington top. I'm looking to enter this into Sew April Blouse 22 that's been run by Kristen from the Dahlia Society and Gabrielle from Cloth Edit, and that is being run obviously in the month of April, and you just have to sort of post your make by the 30th of April. So I think I'm probably going to go down the lines of the Paddington top, because I've made that once before and I really like it. I think it's really lovely. I have had a couple of other suggestions from other people, so thank you so much for those. I am definitely thinking about them as well, but I think I might just go with one that I have already made before because I just love it so much. But we'll see whether inspiration takes me for something else completely. So that's everything that I've been up to this week. A little bit more sewing than I would normally get done, which has been lovely, and it's been obviously lovely being off with the children as well, and we've had a few sort of days out and things, but then sort of when we've come back they've been a little bit tired, and so I've managed to they've, you know, played nicely together, and I've managed to squeeze in a little bit of extra sewing, so that has just been so nice. I think that's everything for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and until next time, take care, happy sewing, bye bye.